Hello there, welcome to the channel. This is Nerd.World, and today's episode is another Nerd Recommends, and I am recommending American Gothic. But before you think I already like American Gothic, I know which one you're talking about. You might actually know which one I'm talking about because you probably saw the title card, but I'm talking about the 1995 American Gothic series starring Gary Cole, a TV series that was basically about a supernatural sheriff wreaking havoc on a small town in middle America. And it only ran for one season, but my god, it was glorious. And we're going to be talking about that series today and why Gary Cole is such a menacing, awesome demon of a sheriff. Before we get started, please like, share, subscribe, comment down below, and let's get started. Now, American Gothic is set in a small town called Trinity, again in middle America, which is kind of ruled over by its menacing, foreboding, and amazing sheriff called Lucas Buck. And this, by the way, is the only show that managed to make the sentence, "someone's at the door," sound truly kind of terrifying. And it did it so well. Now, Lucas is not exactly your average sheriff. He somehow is amazing at his job. Some people love him, some people are terrified of him. The crime rate is practically nothing, but a lot of people seem to mysteriously disappear in Trinity. It turns out, spoilers, he has supernatural powers. It's never explained exactly what he is, but he's basically implied that he's some kind of demon. Basically there to corrupt people's souls. And the show actually focuses, surprisingly, around his relationship with his son, his successor, his son, Caleb Temple. And he's the main antagonist. Now you got Caleb, who he's trying to corrupt, but years earlier, with his inception, basically Caleb was the result of an assault that Lucas did upon his mother. Now Caleb's sister, Lucas removed as a threat because he considered her to be in the way of his son's development, so he killed her. And she then comes back as a spirit, or now an angel, there to oppose Lucas. And there's this three-way dynamic between the three of them where Lucas is trying to corrupt Caleb and make him like himself, while his sister is trying to prevent that from happening. In one episode, actually, when Lucas finally gets sick of her interference, he summons forth a spirit himself, because a spirit can kill another spirit in this universe, and he summons forth the spirit of the Boston Strangler to get rid of her. But the Strangler goes on a rampage rather than actually going after his main target. In the end, when he finally gets his hands on her, Caleb demonstrates that he too has the same demonic force as his father to save his sister's life in an amazing scene where he just burns up this spirit of the Boston Strangler because he's trying to kill his sister again, effectively kill her spirit, kill her soul. And she looks at Caleb and she's just like, I can't believe you did that. And he's like, just believe it. And her response was, I don't not believe that you could do it. I just can't believe that you did. You used that force to save my soul that's going to destroy your own. And it's a lovely moment that sort of tells just how the force can be used for good, but realistically it isn't. Every time he taps into it, he's corrupting a part of himself, and he has all his power. And the show, I'm not going to spoil how it develops beyond that, but the bits where Caleb uses his abilities are always so fun. But the sheriff, particularly played by the very charismatic Gary Cole, he just chews the scenery. He is so fun to have on screen as this villainous but somehow incredibly lovable sheriff who you were just rooting for, even though he's the bad guy and you should want him to lose, but somehow you want him to win. And that's just so well made. The show was created by its creator Sean Cassidy, and he did, in my opinion, an amazing job making this show, and I can't believe it only went for one season. I bought it on DVD as soon as it came out, and I really recommend it as a sit-down binge watch. I think you can currently get it on Amazon, but I'm not 100%, but I know you can get it on DVD on eBay, and for that matter Amazon to buy. But it is such a good show, and it has a great cast, which we'll get into in a second. But as I said, you can't get away from Gary Cole as the villain, Sarah Paulson as the angel, and just so delightful as a show. Okay, as I was saying, with the cast of this thing, you've got Gary Cole, the fantastic, charismatic Gary Cole, who's living a great life in the 90s with shows like Midnight Caller, this, and Wanted, another great show that's massively underrated, and I cannot for the life of me find it streaming anywhere or it on DVD. Can't find it. Really want it. But in this, he plays Sheriff Lucas Buck, the anti-hero, who you are desperate to win, but really you shouldn't want him to because he's evil. You got Lucas Black playing Caleb Temple, a child actor who happens to not be irritating in any way, shape or form throughout the entire run of the show. You never know which way he's going to go either. Is he going to go evil? Is he going to go good? And it's never really resolved because there's no continuing series. It's only done for one season. How could they do that to me? Brenda Bakke is another villain / school teacher of the young boy. She's both, as I say, a villain and love interest of Sheriff Lucas Buck. She becomes incredibly jealous of Paige Turco's character, Gail Emery, because she becomes another love interest who he believes is a better suitable mother to a second potential heir. But as Lucas put it, he'll have an heir and a spare because the boy might go either way. But when Caleb finds out he's about to have competition, he maybe shows his true leanings, shall we say, when we'll go into it. A very young Sarah Paulson as Merlin and Temple, and she is fantastic in this. And I know she's a bigger name, I think, in the US than she is in the UK. I say her name to people here and people don't really know who she is. I always get the impression she's quite big in America, but not so much here. But I like her. I liked her in Serenity, for example, even though it was a really, really tiny role. Nick Searcy as the deputy, who is again a bit of, not an anti-hero, he's kind of the guy you root for, he's the underdog sometimes, but I swear, Nick Searcy, the actor, the man, plays nothing ever but a cop. I have never seen him play another role that I can think of on top of my head, and I've seen him in loads of different shows, and he's always a cop or a sheriff or something in whatever he's in. Occasionally a good guy, occasionally a bad guy, but always a cop. Now anyway, moving on. As I said, this is a very talented group of people who all performed all gave an exceptionally good performance in a show that only lasted one season, and that is criminal. This is Firefly all over again to me. It was tragic. 25 years ago, and yeah, it's devastating. It only lasted one season. It's just trauma. And I am noticing one season from 1995 to 1998, that doesn't seem right, but I was a teenager at the time, I might not have noticed. Now, like I said, if you can find this thing, if you can find it on DVD, if you can find it streaming on Amazon, I think it might be, give it a watch, give it a go. You'll be surprised at just how good it is, and you will be devastated that there's only one season. It is so good. I mean, so good. But with that said, thank you for watching. I don't want this video to go on too much longer. Like, share, subscribe, comment down below. Tell me if you've seen it. Tell me if you're going to watch it. And bye-bye.